Welcome to KDKP Noire. I'm K Noire, and we're back. So, for those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. For those of you that are not so new, welcome back. And to know what we do here, we talk K-drama, K-pop, sometimes the mixture of the two, or just anything else that we like. So, movies that inspire. Well, you can't talk movies that inspire without talking K-pop demon hunters. And again, this is history in the making. They made history by being the first Korean group, whether they're producers, singers, directors, to win an Oscar as such in an animated feature film in this category. So we saw them just make history, and it was beautiful. I will honestly say it was really beautiful. For me personally, it was very uplifting. The song Golden just kind of, I cry a lot when I hear it. Even in the storyline that was told in the movie, how, she was just trying to accept, figure out who she was and then come to a point of an acceptance with it. So you saw the different aspects of it that came together to just show that, even though you're down, you still have the opportunity to come up. Even though you're with, some people that might not seem to be the best fit for you, there's still a good point in it. Now, I say this on a lot of reasons because some people, I love K-pop music, no doubt about it. I love K-dramas, no doubt about it. I watch some form of Asian content every single day. Now, whether that's a soap opera, whether that is a variety show, whether that is a K-drama, or whether it's K-pop music, it's every day for me. I can understand the inspiration of K-pop demon hunters and understand why the song Golden went just totally through the roof and became a golden moment for everybody that was involved with it. All of the producers, all of the singers, these people, the directors, everybody that had a point or a hand in the success of this movie, I could see it and how it just kind of inspired people, because here it was, this movie, like I said, I even had people that I work with said, oh, my nieces or my nephews like it, or my kids like it. And I was like, but do you like it? Well, I haven't really, watched it. I kind of like, turned it on for them and I walked away, and I was like, no, you got to have the moment. You've got to connect with it. You've got to turn it on and you got to sit down and watch it, because it's not what you think it is. And if you're letting your kids watch it based on the title, it's got to be not what you think it is anyway, because the term demon is always so demonized. It's so demonic. It's so negative in a lot of ways, but it wasn't that. When you started to watch this movie, like I told them, I was like, you begin to see the underlying layers that out of, a bad situation, it can always, whatever was meant for your bad will turn into your good regardless. And, for me personally, it just resonated with me and I connected, because one thing that I do believe, um, with me, my family, one of the things that we always get into, we always say, see the good, the God, and the glory, no matter what. Don't matter what you believe, how you believe, but you always look for those three elements in whatever it is. And you take people where they're at. You meet them where they're at, because you never know where you're going to meet them again, or how far they're going to take you, or anything. You've just got to do it. And so when I started watching this movie, it was one of those moments for me. And, and then when I got into EJ's story and Audrey, I mean, like their whole dynamic, the story, Teddy Park, all these people that were involved in this movie, this song. When EJ did an interview, I think she was on J HUD, and I saw, because I knew her background. I knew she had been with SM and she had been studying. Her dream was to be a K-pop, artist, singer, and it did not turn out like that. It did not turn out like that. She was in that element studying K-pop for almost 11 years. And it only took 1 year for it to be a turnaround. Now, if you don't know anything about anything, of how things can start looking like they're bad and turn out for real good and get inspired by this, I don't know where you're at right now. You've got to be inspired. You've got to know. Because she took the 11 years of training in SM. During that time, she got her degree in psychology. She was writing music for Blackpink and like all these other artists. And she took this opportunity, broke everything, the whole concept of what people was thinking that this song was going to be or this movie was going to be. She brought it to fruition. And like I found out that she said they made her write it as an up tune. She said that that the producers were very intentional about what they wanted this to be. They wanted this to be a song that inspired. They wanted this to be a song that uplifted. They wanted this to be that movie that uplifted people, and I think they achieved that. Thank you so much for inspiring us. Now, moving on to our next movie that inspired. Now, this one was new for me. I had a Netflix and chill kind of night, and it was okay. Let me see what's on. And this one came, and I thought, well, we got Made in Korea the series, but this is not that. Um, you have to know this is a more of a heartwarming kind of just loving aspect of love for Korea, love for the people that you love in your family, the whole aspect of what it was to have a dream and actually live it. Um, this movie just really it really touched me because I thought just looking at it, like I said, the title kind of threw me because I knew the series. But when I got in and started watching this movie, I was like, this is phenomenal. Because you saw two cultures merge. You saw the Indian culture, you saw the Korean culture, and you saw someone from, you saw both sides of the family aspect in this movie, how they're very different, but how they came together in this aspect. Um, and you saw the element of hope in this movie. And I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it, but I encourage you to see it because it is very uplifting. We saw someone that, had a dream from very, young in childhood that she always wanted to go to Korea. But it didn't happen the way she expected it to. Again, one of these story elements to where what was meant to harm her actually took her into the best moment of her life. It was from that darkest road to that brightest path. And she just really came to her own self, her own knowing, her best self by what happened to her. Some would perceive it as tragedy because she was kind of deceived by a man that she loved. And, it's like she ended up in one place, he ended up in another place, and she found out all these things about him that he deceived her. And yet still here she was in a place that she had always dreamed about going. She was now there. But it wasn't all, champagne and roses. She had to really, really, start to look at herself from hey, I'm not with him. I've got to make it here. I'm here now. I got to figure this out. So, she goes in and, she has to find a job. She has to, find a way to, support herself. She has to find a way to kind of get with her family and say, hey, I wasn't actually right about this guy. I don't know exactly what happened. I was just following what he said do, and here I am, and this is where I'm at. And she has to, kind of get with her family and resonate that. When you go from being one thing with your family, where you, in some cases with a specific parent, you're the apple of their eye, to being, in a relationship with somebody where you're following their lead and think it's the right thing, and it turns out not to be, that's that can sometimes wedge a gap between you and that family. But in this case, you see the gap that was wedged and how it comes back together. And then you see also the other side of it. You saw a pure stranger, help this young lady. She was in a country she knew nothing about except from the visuals that she had seen growing up, the movies, videos, the different things that she had studied and learned, and, just propelled her desire to be there. But here she was there and had no one. and you see a pure stranger come out of nowhere and show her kindness and help her. And then later on, you find out that this stranger is very significant in her story. And that it was kind of like one of those meant to be kind of moments. Some people say, divine intervention or angelic, assistance, some people may say, or that the universe conspired together. If you haven't read the book, The Alchemist, get it and read it, to bring them together to actually develop the person that she ended up taking care of, the job that she had, bringing the family together. Because you see in this movie, Made in Korea, that she gets a job in Korean family. It was doing housekeeping and housework, something that she really didn't know how to do herself, because she didn't have to do a lot of that growing up or at her home. But she learned. She found out that this lady was actually kind of like faking who she was and what she was, because she was tired of her son and him controlling her. And so when these two came together and they started realizing that they could help each other, you see a beautiful relationship come together and beautiful relationship emerge. And it was just fabulous. And you see the emergence of the cultures coming together. And I love, love, love this. But at the end, you see that, you know, your darkest moments can sometimes lead you, again, like I say, to your brightest path. So, this is a movie that inspires you to just believe in your dreams, believe in yourself, and believe that you can do it. And again, hey, it works. And we love this movie. We absolutely love it. Movies that inspire. Now, this one was called Boyfriend on Demand, starred Jisoo from Blackpink. It starred Seo and Guk. And if you don't know who he actually is a songwriter, a singer, songwriter, and actor. And he was in a K-pop group early on in his career as well. But Boyfriend on Demand is on Netflix. It totally surprised me. And I say it's a movie that inspired because most people will say, how is that an inspiring movie? But it was because we saw the virtual reality. This girl, Jisoo, was always, getting into her own world after she comes off from her real job and, the creative aspect, web, drama, and all this other thing. She comes home and puts on her glasses for this virtual reality and she gets into another world. Now, some of us really know how that is, because if you've ever been in a corporate environment or school environment or something where you just said, I just need to disconnect and be in my own little world where it's just me and whatever that is. She did it every day. And she ended up having this boyfriend in there. And, she ended up having to have different, buy different parts of that virtual reality, um, you know, uh, game to actually, or app to actually continue to get more of the boyfriend. Found out that that was kind of limiting her from having somebody in the future because she was holding on to the past. And so you see in this Boyfriend on Demand, you see Jisoo in a great role. And, Jisoo has played several great roles. I think she started off in the producers. We've seen her in, you know, uh, different reality shows. We've seen her, in different Blackpink shows. We've seen, Jisoo just be part of like so many different elements. But, she actually comes together here in this movie and just delivers a great performance. She's the quintessential kind of quirky girl who, has her own idea and concept of love. And the Seo and Guk, is here, and, he's part of the team that she works with in her regular everyday life. But, he ends up being what was right in front of her all along, being the one thing that she needed all along. So when she goes into virtual reality, you see her in virtual reality with a series of guys. The guy from Third Charm, and when I See You When the Weather Is Fine, you see her with Jay Park. You see her with Choi Se-won from that was part of Super Junior. You see her with um, so many different actors. The lead actor from Extraordinary You and Dodo La La Soul, which is one of my favorites. You see her with him, and he also played in The Impossible Heirs. I mean, like, you see the elements of her interact with so many different people, and that, she's in this virtual world. And these people are she's in her mind, she's like, okay, yeah, this is what I want, or she thinks is what she wants, but it's not. And it goes back to saying that sometimes what you need or what you want in your life is sitting in front of you all along, and you just don't know it. And I'm proof of that. So Boyfriend on Demand, check it out. um, Take a look at it. Like I said, it's very heartwarming as well. And I think you can see that, it just puts reality into a different perspective. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It is definitely a movie that will inspire you to think about where you are now, where you want to be, and where you're going. So, about is the biggest comeback this year so far is BTS. Now, BTS put out their concert on Netflix. I think it was last week. I don't like to use dates per se because who knows when you'll stumble upon this video. But they did put out their concert on Netflix, and then and also a documentary the week following. So it's like it was definitely eye opening. There were mixed reviews because people kept saying, well, it was kind of underwhelming, didn't give the biggest thing that we wanted to see. Then some people said, well, they're starting small and they're going to finish big and finish strong. Well, this is inspiring for me in a lot of ways because I saw how these guys went from boys to men. You will see this. You absolutely see this. You see where they started like literally off of a dream. They come from all different walks of life. You'll hear RM say in the documentary, they were country boys that ended up in a city setting. And you can definitely see that. But I think that, I don't think they could have ever imagined the magnitude of who they started out to be who they are today. I don't think they would have ever imagined that. And we're not talking just from a Korean perspective, but we're talking worldwide. Some people did not like the name of the new album, which is Airing, and I hope I'm saying that right. But that is related to a old Korean folk song. And I think it was the first Korean song to be recorded here in the States, if I'm not mistaken, when those singers came to the United States, and I think they were in Washington, D.C. specifically, and recorded that song. But it is a lot of historic meaning behind it. The song is over 600 years old. And like some people said, well, why is this so relevant for BTS? But if you think about it, it talks about their humble beginnings and how it just, they've gone through a lot of transitions with each other. Again, from boys to men, there are a lot of different transitions and aspects of it, from their time with the army, and their fans, and for their time from performing together, their growth together. There's no way you can be with the same people all the time as these guys have been over the years and not experience some level of growth or indecision or infraction or whatever it is. But whatever it was, it brought them to the point that they needed to be right now. And you can see that when I was watching them on Jimmy Fallon, and I've watched them every year they've ever been on Jimmy Fallon. You could see that the growth in these guys, you could see that they were still connected, but they were that individualism was shining through. You could definitely see that they had grown. Now, some people say, well, is it because of their time apart and they haven't put out an album in 3 or 4 years? It doesn't really matter. Or was it the military system? Doesn't really matter. I think, again, you're going to change. Life is just that. If you keep living long enough, you will experience change no matter what. Change happens with or without you. K-pop in itself changed in before they went and how it is now. And you guys know that because you've seen it over the last couple of years, from the contracts to, the coincidences in the music or the people or the things, just so many different things that inspired people to do something different. And I think these guys are showing that, yeah, we were gone, but we're back, but we're different, but we're still alike for the BTS element. And I think that you will see that they actually come together. And again, I think this is a definite true testament of that. It's like these guys came from different walks of life, did different things. They come together and changed a nation. Korea, it was never the same after BTS's, they did. K-pop was never the same. I mean, I remember seeing these guys, and there was a comparison of BTS and the Beatles. You saw it. And they were like walking across the street in the same manner. And I thought, wow. Now, if anybody knows who the Beatles are, huge. They broke through music and did something nobody has done before. So to see BTS compared to that, that's big. And, with them coming back out and them coming to the fruition of who they are now in this moment is everything. So whether they start small and in big, whatever it is, you're going to see them in a different light than you saw them before they went on hiatus for military service. Because there is no way that you can actually look at these guys and say that they didn't change. Because, yeah, they are BTS and that group is where it is, but individually, they're different. They're different men right now. And I think you will see that because I think their growth element has shown, whether it's in their individual projects or their individual productions that they do, whether it's, whether it's on screen, off screen, I think Sugar has a foundation or something like that for autism. But these guys, have dove into the different aspects of what they believe to see and be their greatest work so far. And I think that you will see that. So if you're not inspired, you should be, because they're here. And I look so forward to seeing them, what they're going to do, going forward. Their first single that they released from this new album is called Swim. And it's going to get in your head. I'm going to tell you that right now. But they're talking about diving in. It features Lily Reinhardt, who is an American actress. I think she's going to star in Forbidden Fruit coming up, but I know her from Riverdale because I used to watch Riverdale every week. But I think that you'll see that, whatever it is in life, you got to dive into it. These are things that inspire us. At the end of the day, thank you. Thanks for being here, and until next time.